Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Council and Committee for Laurentian Valley Council, October the 5th. Dean, call to order, please.
I need a motion, mover and a seconder, please.
Chris and Al.
Moved by Councillor Plow, second by Councillor Wren, that the Council and Committee meeting of October 5th, 2021 be called to order at 5:30.
All in favor? Carried. Roll call.
Roll call. Mayor Bennett.
Present.
Reeve Robinson.
Present.
Councillor Gauthier. Councillor Hughley.
Present.
Councillor Plow.
Present.
Councillor Watt.
Present.
Councillor Wren.
Present.
Okay, let it be known that Councillor Gauthier is missing, but I have heard that she will be a touch late, so she'll join in at the time. Thank you.
Approval of the agenda, Dean, please.
Mover and a seconder, please.
Alan and Chris.
Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Councillor Plow, that the agenda of Council and Committee meeting of October 5th, 2021 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, seeing none. Delegations. It's our pleasure to have a representative from the county tonight and our own warden, Debbie Robinson. Debbie, I'll let you take over.
Just give us a second here. We'll see if Mr. Kelly is here now, and there's Councillor Gauthier has arrived.
Okay.
Is there anybody else? Oh, and Mr. Morrow is also in attendance.
But I believe Jeff Foster.
Are you waiting for anybody else, Reeve Robinson?
I'm just waiting for Mr. Foss to turn
Oh,
on
yeah,
his
Mr.
video.
Foss is there now. Yeah, Mr. Foss is there too. There they are.
There we go.
Okay.
Paul, we have everyone who's coming tonight?
We do, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. So it is my pleasure to be here this evening representing the County of Renfrew. I have two directors with me in the CAO. Their CAO is Paul Morrow. I don't think he needs much of an introduction. I'm sure everyone knows him. The Director of Development and Property, Craig Kelly, again, known face and figure in the county. And of course, our Director of Corporate Services, Jeff Foss. We are trying to get to all 16 municipalities in the County of Renfrew this year, just to talk a little bit about some of the changes that have happened within the County of Renfrew structure, as well as to give municipalities an opportunity to ask us any questions or share any issues or concerns or ideas that you have with us. So it's all started really in 2019 when the staff came to the county council and suggesting that perhaps we had opportunities to find some efficiencies in how we do business. And it was the Service Delivery Improvement Project. What it was basically, the essence of it was that at that time we were spending almost, I think it was $380,000 a year on leases to private landowners. So we decided that perhaps it would be best certainly for financial efficiencies as well as service delivery efficiencies if we brought some of those services back into the administration building of the County of Renfrew. The council of the day decided that was, in the cards. We wanted to do it. We wanted to start saving as much money and finding efficiencies. I think it's interesting that the word efficiencies was floating around the County of Renfrew prior to it becoming the buzzword for the province of Ontario. But it certainly coincided with what the province wanted all municipalities to do. So we were very lucky. We received $750,000 from the province to help with our service delivery modernization. We started by renovating. We had an incredible design. A lot of work and thought went into the redesign. And then, of course, as you all know, the pandemic hit. So when you want to talk about pivoting, we pivoted and we redesigned, and we had people working at home, almost, I don't know, Craig can tell you, probably about 14 months construction in the County of Renfrew. But today we have our Ontario Works Department, our Child Care Services, and our Renfrew County Housing Authority, all situated within the County of Renfrew, along with all of the other departments that we have, development of property, corporate services, which includes human resources, planning and development, and our paramedic service. And I'm thinking, public works, never forget public works. So it's been a challenging 14, 15 months, but I think that at the end of the day, all of the municipalities will see that the service delivery has improved. We are certainly more efficient, cost effective as well. Throughout the process, we had the opportunity when we received additional funding to do a real close review of our planning department, and Craig will certainly speak to you about that. As well, at the time, there were some changes around our human resources management, which again allowed us to take a deeper look at how we were operating the services we were providing internally and externally. And to tell you, with the guidance of Mr. Foss, we have one absolutely incredible corporate services department and human resources with some really keen, talented people. So with that, I'll turn it over, I suppose, to Paul, please.
Warden, if you're okay, we might as well go straight to Mr. Foss, and he'll start the conversation about where we are with the corporate services and how we have developed our human resources department. Thank you.
Yes, please, Mr. Foss.
Thank you. And good evening, Council for Laurentian Valley. And it's my pleasure to be here this evening to speak with you. I know many of the faces on the screen on a personal basis, so it's so nice to see you in this forum as well. So and I refer to her always as our warden, but your fellow councillor, Debbie Robinson, mentioned, we undertook a change in our human resources department late in 2020 and brought forward to our council a business plan to really restructure or redesign our human resources department sort of from the ground up. And that involved our council giving us approval to move forward and really radically change how we deliver HR services throughout our organization. And so just in February of this year, council gave us the approval to move forward. And so we built a new team, starting with a brand new manager, a fellow by the name of Greg Belmore, who is a chartered professional accountant. Greg brings with him a wealth of experience from the private sector and is really leading our team and transforming our team. We had a goal in mind of really ensuring that the individuals within the human resources department, had the proper background, education, skill sets, experiences throughout the industry, and that they were all qualified as human resource professionals. And so what we did is we undertook a pretty extensive recruiting effort and brought people into the organization that fit with those qualities. So this is a fairly young and dynamic and energetic group who are really getting settled in really nicely within the county of Renfrew. And it's pretty safe to say that, we're really making an early on impact inside our organization. But one of the things that council did when they approved our business plan or restructuring plan early in the year was to bring on one new staff member, one additional resource, with the sole purpose of making that resource available to all of our local municipalities. So we understand that human resources is not always a position that each of our 17 lower tier municipalities can afford as a dedicated resource. And so the business plan concept was to hire one additional resource and share that resource amongst all municipalities. And so we've done that. We brought an additional resource and made that available to you. County Council has already, through our user fee bylaw, really decided what the rate would be to charge for that service to the lower tiers. And so this position is really on a cost recovery basis. And so our user fee bylaw directs that we charge that position out at $75 an hour, which is probably about half price of what the going market rate would be for a similar sort of a consulting service. And if we were looking to what many of us have used over the years, some external legal advice, well, of course, we understand what the hourly billing rates are. If you went to Hicks Morley or Eamon Harnden or any of the larger human resource legal firms to obtain some advice and guidance around the whole issue of human resources. And so the other thing the county council has done is required that on an annual basis, each of the municipalities are entitled to 7 hours of services at no charge. So essentially, it's an opportunity to sort of test drive, if you will, some of the services that are available to you as an organization. And so if your municipality needs some support in any of the areas of human resources, and if we can help you out, we'd be happy to do that. So what are those areas? Well, I mean, it runs the full gamut. I think we've ensured that we brought some people on board that have some very specific expertise in the areas of recruiting. That's the development of job descriptions, the advertising or the job posting process. We can, sort of receive and track and coordinate your applications. We can even preview it and ensure that we only provide you a list of individuals that match your criteria to a specific level. We can participate in the interview process. We can provide some recommendations on hiring. We can even draft employment contracts that would help you in your employment relationship with your new staff going forward. Benefits administrations, an area that nobody really likes to talk about an awful lot, but it is a function of the Human Resources Department. Investigations and disciplinary actions. We can help you with policy creation, interpretations. If you have collective agreements, we can participate in that bargaining process, if you will, managing your grievances, letters of understanding, pay equity and job evaluations. We have a number of other individuals on the HR team that play a supporting role. So we have a registered nurse who has been a registered nurse for many, many years, and she functions as our occupational health specialist. And so she's available to assist your organization, should you require employee health management services, return to work programs, ergonomic assessments. So we've got a team, I think, that we've put together that is available and anxious to sort of support your activities and the work that you do with your staff. And we would certainly be open to engaging with you to see how we can support you kind of moving forward. So Warden Robinson, and in this case, Councillor Robinson, maybe I'll just end my comments there and certainly happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm the Reeve, by the way, not the councillor. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Bennett, the chair. Steve, we can't hear you.
New system. I guess I'm a rookie at this yet. Again, thank you. I didn't get a chance to introduce you guys and welcome you to our council tonight, but welcome to you, Jeff and Paul and Craig. Familiar with all three of you and have a whole lot of respect for you and the folks that you've done. Debbie Warden Reeve, friend Debbie, mentioned earlier regarding the restructure or the construction at the county, and I was fortunate enough to have a tour with Craig after the ceremonies last month, and it looks fabulous, and it really looks good and so organized in all your departments that I wish you the best with that. So maybe I'll turn it back over and unless council, maybe leave your questions to the end and we'll move over to you, Paul.
Thank you for that, Your Worship. And maybe if we can, we'll go to Craig next. The warden in her opening remarks talked about the changes in human resources. And so Craig has been continuing to move forward. And as the warden had mentioned, we did a bit of a deep dive into our planning department. Like everyone else around the county, we're swamped with applications and our general inquiries. And I'll let Craig speak to what plans we have in place and what measures he's taken so far to make some improvements within our planning department. So with your indulgence, I'll turn it over to Craig.
Thanks, Paul, and good evening from downtown Barry's Bay. Well, not quite downtown, the suburbs of Barry's Bay. Welcome. The development property, just for everybody's knowledge, we have a large portfolio. Like Jeff, like everybody, we take care of planning for many municipalities and all planning and subdivision things and consents and all those different applications that come in. We also deal with tourism, economic development, property. We own several pieces of property, including the county administration building that we update. And recently I've been tasked with a portfolio of the bricks and mortar for all the housing units for Renfrew County Housing Corporation. So quite the portfolio. And of course, I can take some questions later about the Algonquin Trail or the K&P Trail that I'm sure that people may want to bring up later on. One of the things that we deal with, of course, and the county forests that we manage too. So big portfolio, and happy to talk to you about what we have ongoing in planning. Of course, I see Lori, and Lori's a great colleague of ours, and happy to have her in our peer network. We have had a retirement earlier this year of Mr. Cheeseman, was with the county for, 32 years or something like that as a planner. And Charles, of course, dealt with planning files for many municipalities, including your own with Lori, and before that, and before that, and before that. But with his departure, created some opportunities. And as the warden, as the Reeve mentioned, we did do a planning services review that mentioned that we should look at ways to make things quicker, I guess, if you will. So we've, under the new manager, Bruce Howarth, have looked at our severance and consent file process, have digitized that, and created a better system for it to flow through and allow for the township, in your case, to comment early and become a commenting agency before the planning report is written, and just allows us, in terms of timing, to get those consents and severances through a heck of a lot quicker. Of course, with Lori's assistance and guidance, we work on subdivision files, and you've got, I think, 2 active ones and maybe 3 active ones currently in Laurentian Valley that we're looking after draft conditions and getting those approved as fast as we can. But of course, those are all complicated, and they get more complicated as we go. So right now we are looking at building our own planning capacity. We are down a planner since Mr. Cheeseman's retirement. We're increasing capacity in January, and perhaps even sooner with another planner or 2 as we move forward and making those plans to see how we can expand that capacity to help move development faster. Of course, everybody needs development for the tax base to grow, and we're working with that as quick as we can and trying to work through our own process. We are looking with, again, with your planner on how we move forward on a digital platform, whether that be what you may have heard as cloud permit or something similar, and whether the validity of that makes sense for all of us to get on board with at the same time, or just sit back and work on the human resource component first and work on the digital component later. So part of that will come out of our digital strategy, which Mr. Foss and his IT team are working on to determine if the digital strategy means making more efficiencies by creating our own web-based things, if you will, to move forward, or if we just stick with, again, human resources and just improving the resources that we have already. That's just on the planning. On the economic development side, of course, I'll touch really quickly. Your economic developer and community development officers, because you have one exiting and one entering, I understand. We work very closely with and try to bring any new economic development and share economic development ideas with your staff. And we will continue to do so. And of course, the busiest department these days, as we start to lay aggregate in the next few weeks, is the Algonquin Trail, and deal with the recent closure of the CN and how the Algonquin Trail will be affected by the CN closure. And of course, we've been working with the mayor and your Reeve and your CAO to determine the best steps forward. So I think, Paul, I'll leave it there and open it for questions. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Craig. I'll turn it over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think our goal here today was to have a conversation with council and to make sure council was aware of some of the improvements we're making at the county to provide better service to local municipalities and to your ratepayers and our ratepayers. I think what we've talked about in terms of the focus on human resources and on the planning department, I think we've made some very proactive strides. And I hope what you'll see over the next 6 months is an increased efficiency and some better service to our ratepayers. So that's what we wanted to inform you of today. And we'd be happy to take any questions that council may have for us. And I know, like Craig mentioned, I know the Algonquin Trail is always a hot topic, and it's nice to have Craig here to answer those questions as well. So thank you for that, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I'll open it up to council. Any questions for council for any of these three gentlemen? Alan.
So I'll ask the question, Craig, when are you going to start laying aggregate? There's a lot of people wondering when and how far do you think you're going to get before the snow flies?
Through you, Mayor. It would seem like the almanac hopefully is right, I guess, for if you're a sledder, because we're going to get early snow and lots of it. With that said, County Council awarded $1 million worth of tendering for the trail last Wednesday, and we are concentrating our efforts on stone dust from Cobden to Old Mill Road in Laurentian Valley. So it's quite a long section. So that will involve grubbing, ditching, and packing and laying of stone dust, like you've seen in other areas. So essentially, by the first snowflake, cross our fingers that everything will go well. You'll be able to multi-use the trail from Old Mill Road to the suburbs of Smiths Falls by December 1. So I'll just expand on that. There are efforts underway in those tenders to stone dust through the city of Pembroke, where we have not stone dusted, and then provisions for a section from the Garrison Petawawa up to and around adjacent to Deep River, just north of Chalk River as well, between now and middle of next summer.
Great. I can tell you that we were to Calabogie the other day on the trail, and the portion that has just been done between Renfrew and Cobden is phenomenal. I can't believe how much more traffic there is on the Algonquin Trail when you get down that way. It's amazing how many people are using it. And it for sure is a multi-use, because we met walkers, bikers, horseback riders, so and everybody seemed to be real good with it. So
thank you for your support. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Craig, maybe a follow-up to that. The bridges in downtown Pembroke, I believe they're going to be completed as well?
Through you, Mayor, yes, they are. The provisions were that they would be completed. As you know, it's stated, I guess, is that with the CN closure, there are issues with sleds getting in and around Pembroke. So we are working right now with the city and with Snow Country and Timberline to determine a route through Pembroke that helps the economic development of the whole area. So the bridges are a provision that was awarded. So those two bridges will be completed this season, at least as best we can, if not a stopgap measure of temporary fencing on at least the Alexander Street Bridge, which is the underpass bridge, as opposed to the Muskrat that has the big sides. And they'll be readied for winter use for this year. And to that end, Timberline has made a nice donation to the trail of about $40,000 that will be contributed towards the upgrades of those two structures for sledding. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you for that. Anybody else with any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much again, Warden Robinson, Jeff, Paul, Craig, for bringing us up to date on county activities, and we thank you very much. You can have a bit of a rest before you move on to your next event tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Your Worship, and we appreciate your time tonight. And you know where to find us should you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again for the opportunity. And gentlemen, thank you for spending your part of your evening with us. And I will see you at 7:30.
Thanks.
Okay, so Moved to business under planning. A motion SP 202109. I take that goes to Laurie.
Yes, so I'm going to just share my screen for a moment here. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see just the location of the application that's before us for discussion. So there's actually a couple of components tonight related to this. So it's SP file 2021-09. It's also part of the companion piece. It's related to County of Renfrew application for consent file B7021. And this is the Baroni property. And so you can see in red is the severed lot, and then the larger, bigger chunk is the retained. Just to clarify for some confusion, sometimes what's called the severed versus the retained is more to do with what is surveyed versus what somebody will actually retain versus what is sold. So again, so we have an existing dwelling at 210 Drive-In Road that's proposed to be severed. So as a condition related to this, because this is an area that the future development is required on sewer and water, given how close it is coming, for this larger chunk of property in the back. There was a study that was required as a condition. And so one of the conditions, though, was that entering into an agreement to ensure the future connection once this parcel behind is developed on full municipal services, that this lot here would be connecting. And the property owner understands that and is on board with that as well. So the reports before council are to allow for the mayor and CAO to enter into the professional services agreement, which is again the administrative part of it that allows for the collection of the fees, but then also to authorize the mayor and CAO to also sign the accompanying site plan agreement, or sorry, development agreement that brings in again those conditions for the future. So that is the first part of the application here that's related to this property.
Any questions to council? Laura, I just have one. So I take it this is the second severance on this property, or was there one done a few years ago for?
So I believe in our, in terms of our counts, there wasn't an issue in terms of our severance policies in terms of the numbers. If anything was severed off here in the past, it's been quite a longer period of time. So they had rezoned to build the house just in this spot. So that's where the site-specific zoning, but it wasn't severed off at that time. It just allowed for that area to be taken out of the suburban reserve to allow for their house construction.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for council? For Laurie? Okay, we have a motion, Dean.
Yeah, I need a mover and a seconder, please.
Keith and Brian?
Moved by Councillor Watts, second by Councillor Ugly, that council authorize the mayor and the CAO to enter into a professional services agreement and development agreement with Joseph Baroni and Sons, Pembroke Construction Limited, for application file SP 2021-09, consent B7021, and for bylaw 2021-10-054 and bylaw 2021-10-055 as presented to the bylaw portion of the October 5th, 2021 special council meeting for passing.
All in favor? Carried.
And we have a second one. No, sorry, that's no, sorry.
So Laurie, Pleasant View Drain. With
Yes,
this
so this is,
property?
yes, so this is the same property that this affects. I think the screen share is now off, but if need be, we can bring that one back. I think Laurie Dennis has actually shared her screen here. So I would just move it back. Okay, so in terms of this is related to the other condition on the severance that's related to the municipal drain. This area is part of the Pleasant View municipal drain. So all of the area of the severed lot is within the municipal drain area. So what happens is there's a small area of the retained that would be outside it, but the apportionment agreement developed in conjunction with the our drainage superintendent, Claus Trost. We've split the apportionment so that it carries forward. There's no additional costs if there are future maintenance costs related to the Pleasant View Municipal Drain, but it just reflects how that's split between the different parts of the property moving forward.
Okay, any questions of council on this item? Keith?
So the retained portion, Laurie, if that was to be developed and I don't know, say you get 20 lots out of that, how is that apportionment worked out? Is that just again with the amount that is apportioned to that parcel right now?
So when we're talking with a broader development, then at that time, we would take a look at that again, site specifically, and likely as one of the items related to the subdivision. If there was a subdivision application, one of the items required would be that they provide some information from the engineer to address how that may or may not affect. It's simpler when it's a severance because you're just dealing with two parcels. But if once you're starting to develop a lot more, that could affect how the drainage runs and whether or not there's tweaks or adjustments to works within that drainage area. That has to be just given an extra look at.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Laurie? If not, Dean, we have a motion, mover and seconder. Jennifer and Alan.
Moved by Councillor Gauthier, second by Councillor Wren, that council hereby approves the apportionment agreement from Joseph Baroni and Sons, Pembroke Construction Limited for consent file B7021 as presented to adjust the apportionments for the subject lands in the Pleasant View Municipal Drain.
Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. And item C is the Taylor Heights subdivision authorization transfer lot 6. Laurie, please.
Yes, so I guess Laurie Dennis has shared her screen. If she could just zoom in towards lot 6, please. So just with regard to the Taylor Heights subdivision, we are getting closer to the point of being able to finalize all of the matters related to the subdivision agreement and security. So in anticipation of that and related to a request through the developer, we're getting the paperwork in place related to lot 6 was held by the township, and you're on the it's towards the bottom of the screen. Before the cul-de-sac's just off, but it's towards the bottom where the cul-de-sac is. Lot 6 was held as security, so it would be to transfer that back. It is getting to be the last lot now that is, all the others have permits issued. If they're not completely constructed upon, they're well underway.
Okay, thanks, Laurie. Any questions of council on this? If not, Dean, we have a motion.
Yes, we do. Need a mover and seconder, please.
Debbie and Chris.
Moved by Reeve Robinson, second by Councillor Plow, that council to authorize the mayor and the CEO to transfer lot 6, plan 49M85 in Taylor Heights subdivision to DCS Developments Inc., subject to the approval of township solicitor in consultation with the township planner and public works manager, and forward bylaw 2021-10-056 as presented to the bylaw portion of the October 5th, 2021 special council meeting for passing.
All in favor? Carried. So Laurie, when do we actually assume the road?
So we will be bringing that back to another council meeting. So we would be very close to doing that as well. Just ensuring that all the final sign-offs are in place in conjunction with the public works manager as well on that. And as I said, I believe we are getting closer to that point as well. We have now very close to the warranty period in addition to that.
Thank you. Okay, move down to information, expired temporary regulations, municipal authority to regulate construction. That's just for information, Dean?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Alternative voting. Laurie,
I guess there's
believe.
subcommittees. The subcommittees, Pembroke Area Airport.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Subcommittees, airport, Alan, sorry.
Okay, I told you, I think, at the last meeting that we had gone out to tender to replace the fuel tanks, and unfortunately only had one bid received on fuel tanks. It was our hope that we would be somewhere in around the $450,000, but I guess we're caught in what everybody is saying is COVID pricing. So that quote did come in at $555,000. We have to move forward with it. So we have put it off for this year, and we will be moving forward with it in the spring. We're hoping that the contractor can sharpen his pencil a little bit, but at this point, he hasn't budged at all. So the price that we paid at $450 would have been, our Laurentian Valley would have been $85,774. Now we're looking at our share is going to be $104,835, or an increase of about $19,000. So I'll send that spreadsheet on to Charlene, but that's what the airport will be looking for from Laurentian Valley to do the fuel tanks early next year.
Okay, any questions for Alan? Okay, if not, Emergency Management Program Committee, Laurie, anything to report?
Just we did have our capital sector CEMC meeting this afternoon, so it's still moving forward, but we will be looking at some virtual training before the end of the year as well, and they were providing us with some resources for that. And again, we do have the exercise because they've removed any exemptions from that. So that's how we'll be moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now on to the report of alternative voting and use of tabulators for the 2022 municipal election.
Okay, yeah, it's just this, I guess we're fortunately or unfortunately, depending where you're sitting, I guess, but obviously municipal elections are coming in 2022, and we're starting to feel our deadlines as we speak now. So one of the deadlines that we need to decide is whether or not, and it's one of the authorities that council has, is whether or not we would offer internet and electronic voting, as well as the use of tabulators. So what we're recommending as staff is that we continue again, basically the same type of election as last time, which would include internet, telephone, and a paper ballot on election day. The internet telephone component would be for approximately 10 days. So it'll allow people any kind of time to vote electronically or by phone. And the new thing that we're suggesting adding, which takes a lot of the guessing out of the entire process of paper balloting, is counting them, because we never know exactly how many people are going to vote on that day. And it causes a bit of grief knowing that, each team, as I call them, 2 people, are probably comfortable in counting 150 to 200 ballots to be proper, and you never know how many. So we're going to suggest this time to use the use of tabulators, which is a proven method of calculating all those votes and in a short period of time, as well as takes the ability of recounts, it dwindles that authority as well. So that's the recommendation we're going forward with. So that's what we bring forward in front of council today.
Okay, Brian first, then Alan, and then Jen.
My question is, what is the cost of the tabulators in light of paper ballots going down? It's 4 years between elections. We're only now counting, about 500 and some ballots. So my question is, what's the cost of this?
Well, the tabulators themselves, we estimate a cost of between $2,500 and $3,000 for the use of them on that particular day. But when you take into account the paying of the personnel, you take into account of all the other things that go with that, and because of the fact that, again, it's the guessing, it is difficult, because we don't know if we're getting 500 or 600 or 1,000. I mean, we got to prepare for, technically we got to prepare for 7,000. That's really what we have to prepare for the number of ballots we do have. But so that's, it's just, and we're doing this as a group. So what is happening now is there's 6 or 7 municipalities together in this. So we're pricing it as a group. We're pricing the internet and telephone as a group, and the tabulators as a group. So it's just seems to be the way of the future, I guess, as well as the electronic voting.
Follow up, Brian, go ahead.
So it would be a rental for the day or for the week or whatever? Is that the way it works?
Correct, yes.
Alan?
That was my question, and same as Brian. So thank you. It's been answered.
Jennifer?
So a tabulator, what is that and where is it put?
The tabulator is basically a piece of equipment that when the person comes in with their paper ballot, there's a folder that the returning or the officer works at that puts the ballot inside the folder. The folder and the ballot go into the tabulator, and it's automatically count. And then the paper is dumped into the bottom of the tabulator, so there's nobody that can see the exactly, who that particular person voted, but it get registered as a vote for whoever it's for. So it's basically all to do with paper. It's done in the office on election day. It will be used here.
So only for one day?
Correct.
Because that's the only day the paper ballots will be done is election day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? Motion.
Need a mover and a seconder, please.
Debbie and, sorry. Alan, thank you.
Moved by Reeve Robinson, second by Councillor Wren, that the Corporate Services and Protection Committee approve the use of internet telephone voting as an alternative voting method, as well as paper ballot tabulators for the 2022 municipal election, and council forward the bylaw as presented to the bylaw portion of the regular council meeting of October 19th, 2021 for enactment.
All in favor, please. Carried. Okay, flag protocol policy, Dean.
As we mentioned, this was coming forward. We've established a policy to have some criteria and procedures for flying of different flags within the municipality. Really, I guess the only thing, what staff is recommending with regards to the procedures that I can flag is that, oh, sorry for the pun there, but that I can identify, I guess is a better word in this case, that we will be, the flagpoles outside will fly the particular flags of Canadian, Ontario, and the municipal one. Where we are suggesting is we will have we do currently have it anyway, but we will continue to maintain it. We will have a display a community flag in the lobby of the municipal office, which will allow council at certain points in time being requested to fly a particular flag that they would fly in the lobby of the municipal office. So that's considered a community flag. Other than that, the rest of it is there. If there's any specifics that council would like to questions answered, we can certainly go ahead and do that. But the rest of it is just etiquette and procedures.
Brian, go ahead.
I just had a couple questions. So the community flag inside, it said that it can be for up to a month on a first come, first served basis. If you were getting more than one request for that month, would you split the month up, or how would you deal with that? Because it just seems, you could have a bunch of very good causes in a given month and you're denying everybody but the first one. And
I guess we could look at that in two ways. One is that certainly council would have the luxury of deciding, like you said, split the month in half, a week here, a week there, whatever. Council would have that luxury. We could possibly erect another one in another corner, a community flag. We did put it as community flag poles, so we could erect another one. Now, having said that, we don't get a lot of requests. I mean, maybe they'll start now. I don't know, but we haven't had in the past. We've only, we've flown a couple of flags. Community living for one has been an ongoing one. We've flown in the month of May for several years. But now this will be a little more formal, where council will have to approve exactly what we're flying. And again, the timing would come to that, or we could subsequently have a second flag. They're not a big cost. It's just a pole that we may even have another one around that we could certainly erect in another corner. But I don't think we'd be flying like 5 or 6. I don't think that's going to occur. So.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Brian, follow up, sorry?
It wasn't it wasn't a follow-up, it was on another part of the thing. And I'm going blind here because I was trying to come onto a new computer, and so I'm using the one with my notes on it. But the half mast flags for a death, it goes back up to full height at their burial on the day of their burial. But then further on in the policy, it was for other occasions, and there was really no ending point to when the half mast would end. And I'm a proud Canadian. I like to see the flag flying at the top of the mast as much as possible, and not indefinitely down at half mast. And it'd be nice to see some sort of a time limit on things.
Okay, I guess we can review that. I don't recall exactly, but we'll certainly take a look, I guess, and see, make sure there's a start. What you're asking for is a start and an end, so it's at least prominent as to when it is put back up. Is that kind of the etiquette you're looking for?
Yes.
I guess in number 19 says from the time of notification of death until sunset the day of the funeral. So it could be 2 weeks, or it could be 3 days.
No, that's the
But I
top
guess-
part, but further on, it doesn't give any date as to when it would end.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, normally in some of these cases too, they're nationally recognized, and that is set by, set by the federal government or the province sometimes. So some of that is already set, and I think we want to follow their lead in that case and not make our own. But if it's a local one, then we understood it to be at the call of, the mayor and council to see when it, comes up. And as I said, likely would be the funeral, and then the funeral, it would be back, put up to the top of the mast. But we will look that over with that lens and see where we're, if there's anything else to add there. Councillor Hughley.
Okay.
Debbie.
Thank you. So I was reading through it, and there was a couple of things that caught my attention. We're talking about how displaying a flag brings public awareness. Unless the public are all streaming through our council building, there's no awareness at all. So I would like us to consider perhaps purchasing a additional flagpole for outside of the municipal building, which is where we could then fly a flag from a community organization. That's one of the things. The other one is, I really think that a request should be a community organization, whether or not it's profit or nonprofit, I'm really not sure. And we also talk about, and again, I'm kind of like Brian because I don't have my my notes in front of me here, unfortunately. But that it must have a direct relationship with the township. So, I just think that if anyone wants us to fly their flag, what they should be doing is putting in a written request to council. It should come to this committee and be discussed and then recommended, to council at the end of the month.
So you're asking for a fifth pole outside to display rather than in the lobby of the township?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Any other comments from council? Okay, so Dean, you're taking this back anyways?
Well, I mean, we can certainly bring it back. I'd like to maybe, if we're going to go down a path and there's a few things, maybe I'd ask the particular members to put exactly what they're looking for in there, so we can kind of work at it, as opposed to kind of, I guess the concern I would have with the extra flagpole, there could be, 5 months of the year that, well, it could be probably more than that, to be honest, at this point, at the rate we've gone. It could be, 10 months of the year that there'd be nothing on this flagpole. And if that's okay for council, I'm not sure if we want that look, or are we just going to fly something else there in the meantime and it goes up? So that'd be our concern there. Or do we want to be, we can step back and look at it, and which we did discuss, of taking one down, and I don't know which one you would take down to erect somebody else's, but that's another option, I guess. But anyway, I guess what I'm asking for is if council does have some thoughts, then just write us a note, please, and just an email just to say what that is, and then we'll bring them back up at the next meeting and have another discussion, I guess is the best way to do this.
Okay, council okay with that? All right. So just put the motion on hold. Down to information, fire report, department report. Fire Chief Tim, another busy month.
Yeah, it's been steady. It's been different. It's obviously everything's different right now. Some of the calls are getting different. Other than that, there's not a whole lot. We are putting our new BAs in service in the next week. We've done training on them now for about 2 months, so everybody seems to be very comfortable with them. So we'll put them in gear and move on from there.
Okay, any questions for Tim or from his report? Tim, I will ask you that I have you now. I've been invited, I'm just trying to get the email very quickly here, but I was invited to a meeting on Friday for Head Clerk Mariah regarding extrication services in their area. I don't see an opportunity Laurentian Valley could be involved, or do you see any type of involvement?
Well, when we get into my 10-year plan and we get into the budget this year, you'll see that in the next couple of years, we're going to have to seriously look at extrication now. To get involved in Head Clerk Mariah, that's no, it's just a little bit far out of the area. I don't know how we could help there. I mean, obviously we'd never say no, but we're a long piece away.
Okay, no, that's good. I just need to hear those comments from you before I attend the meeting on Friday. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Tim? Okay, you guys doing a great job, Tim.
Thank you.
Tell the guys that for sure. Council's quite happy with your services. Stay safe.
I guess you didn't see the budget this year.
Didn't see which? No. Not yet.
Below, like, okay.
Okay, we'll move on then to, thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
Animal control report. Any questions on that? Okay, seeing none. Subcommittees, Festival Hall. Jennifer, anything going on? Not yet. Pembroke Public Library, you see the board minutes of May and June and August. I see our numbers are up, especially in the summertime, Keith, and some of the areas for Laurentian Valley usage.
Yes, actually still going up, and it's good use being made of the library, and still lots of changes going on. Just about a complete revamp, or I guess updating the whole of the interior of the library. Just the hardwood floor of the main entrance is one of the last things that we're in the process of getting done.
Okay, any questions for Keith? Okay, thanks, Keith. Move down to Public Works. Road classification change, Mark.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My first report is for a road maintenance classification change for a section of Sandy Beach Road. The township did receive a request from a ratepayer that the township upgrade the classification of a portion of Sandy Beach Road in close proximity to Dabbers Road. There is a map in the report that does highlight the area. The road section is currently a Class 6 seasonally maintained road within the township's road network, and works by the ratepayer were recently completed, and it is able to bring the road up to a Class 5 maintenance class, and that's in accordance with our road maintenance bylaw that is in place. It is suggested that council accept this section of road as part of the township full rate maintenance road network. It is also recommended that that the road section be reviewed in 1 year from now. So we're looking at the process we have is to maintain the road through the winter months, review in the spring for any hazards, any concerns, and then touch base again with the ratepayer to know if any issues have arisen. So, and at that time, we will bring a further report back to council in the spring of 2022, just to have that discussion whether it stays as a full maintenance class 5 or if it should be taken back to a class 6.
Thanks, Mark. Any questions? Debbie?
I just want, so Mark, if the road after the winter needs additional maintenance, is that at the, on the taxpayers of Laurentian Valley or on this other landlord or landowner, sorry?
No, I think the idea would be that it would go back to the ratepayer.
Okay. Brian?
Do you use the same plowing equipment on that part of the road, or is it a smaller plow that you use there?
Yeah, no, it is the same tandem plow truck. So that was the concern with previous requests when the road wasn't as wide, but the road is now equal to or wider than Dabbers Road, which leads to it. So it was inspected by myself and a couple of our operators as well, just to judge their comfort level for maintaining the road, and they both said absolutely no concerns with it. So. So yeah, but same equipment and no concerns to be able to maintain it.
And it looks like there's been a turning circle done at the end point there at Albert's Drive to make that turn.
Yes, yeah. It's about 64 feet wide, so pretty much the full road allowance has been utilized, and then we did ask the staff again, the operators, and to be able to turn the truck there. It isn't a standard cul-de-sac, but they do feel sufficient space to be able to turn the truck. So
Okay, any further questions, comments? We have a motion, first and seconder. Keith and Chris.
Moved by Councillor Watt, second by Councillor Paul, that the Public Works and Property Committee recommend that council approve classification change of section of Sandy Beach Road from 90 meters east of Dabbers Road to 530 meters easterly of Dabbers Road.
Dean, your microphone is not on.
Sorry, thank you. I'll try that again. Moved by Councillor Watt, second by Councillor Plow, that the Public Works and Property Committee recommend that council approve the classification change of section of Sandy Beach Road from 90 meters east of Dabbers Road to 530 meters easterly of Dabbers Road, effective on November 1st, 2021, with the caveat that the conditions and criteria to be reviewed after 1 year.
All in favor? Carried. Well, the happy person in our township tonight. Approval of snowplowing, municipal lot. Mark.
So the next report is for the approval of tender Lvpw 2021-12, which is for the snow plowing of municipal parking lots. And we are looking for an award of the contract to Eastway Contracting Incorporated. There were funds approved in the 2021 Public Works operational budget for the snow clearing operations. During the budget deliberations, council probably recalls the talk about purchasing new trucks and new equipment or contracting out the service, and it was felt that it would be more cost effective to contract out the clearing of parking lots. The tender was requested by 7 contractors. There were 3 submissions that were submitted. Of the 3 bids, Eastway Contracting was the lowest. The per event cost is $881 plus HST per event. That was close to the estimate that we had put forward. It was really a rough estimate, is being a first time, not really having an idea of what the cost would be. What the contract includes is the maintaining of all the parking lots and also shoveling of emergency doors and exits, and as well as the application of sand and salt as required. We did have a virtual tender opening, which again was showed higher numbers of contractors participating. And as mentioned, the contract is a per event basis rather than a lump sum, thinking that it would be some better value for the municipality. And then being the first time for this type of contract, staff will review after the winter season and just to verify the costs, see where our estimates are, and then reevaluate for the 2022-2023 winter moving forward.
Thanks, Mark. Any questions for Mark? Chris and Brian.
Mark, just a quick question. Does this include the forestry cross-country ski trails? And if it does not, can we see if we can help them out somehow?
Yeah, it doesn't include it. I know we give them a grant annually to cover the costs of it, but that is something that I could ask to possibly work into this. And then I'm not sure how that would work if we would not give them the grant or not. Something we can, I guess, discuss at a staff level.
I guess whichever makes it cheaper for the club, put it that way.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
And Brian.
Just had two questions. So what is the average number of events in a year? And is there a minimum, if we get a half a centimeter dusting, is that going to be an event, or is there a threshold of a centimeter or 2 centimeters or something before they go out?
Yeah, so it's 2 inches of snow before they go. So that is the threshold, and we'll monitor that to make sure that they're not plowing. We also have a provision for some of the secondary parking lots. I'll say the one for the skating trail and winter carnival at Allison Fraser. It's not to be plowed until either the carnival or skating trail open. So there's some cost savings there as well because they're not plowing that one. So the $881 average will slightly drop because I think it's maybe about $150 for the plowing of that parking lot. So that wouldn't happen for the fourth quarter of this year and for a portion of 2022. I don't have the list. I apologize for that, of the number of winter events, but we're probably in the range of on average 15 to 20, kind of in that fourth quarter. And then again, maybe 20 or 30 in the first quarter of the next year. It's been, considerably less the last few winters. So, it's really just, it depends on the season. It's a tough number to judge. And this is really just our first attempt to, and we'll, as I mentioned, reevaluate and see how things work.
Okay. So we'll move ahead with the,
we have a motion for that
motion,
too as well,
yeah.
please? If we could get a mover and second there.
Okay, Jennifer and Brian.
Moved by Councillor Gauthier, second by Councillor Ugly, that committee and council recommends to council that tender Lvpw 2021-12 snow plowing and municipal parking lots be awarded to Eastway Contracting Incorporated at the per event cost of $881 plus HST.
All in favor? Carried. Move on to subcommittees, Waste Coverage
Just
Center.
one second, Steve. On the sheet that I'm looking at, it's 811, not 881.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got 881 too.
I think the chart itself may be wrong, Councillor, or maybe unless Mark remembers, but in the report it says 881. So we'd have to, I think it is 881 if I remember correctly. Are you?
So on the list three, it shows Eastway at 811.
Yeah, I think that's a typo.
And Splinter at 1085.
I believe the Eastway is a typo. It should be 881.
Yes, it is 881. It is a typo. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So we're okay. The motion was correct.
Yep. Okay. Waste Coverage Center under subcommittees. Nothing to bring anything up there tonight. We have our budget starting pretty soon for next year. I'll take any questions if there is any. Okay, if not, CPAC, there's nothing going on there, Jennifer. Down to community development and recreation culture. Dan, we have a report.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. 1 month in already. So as you know, Digital Main Street 3.0 is underway until February of 2022. We've made a huge focus this year to engage with as many businesses as possible. So this is for the bricks and mortar businesses for the digital transformation grant. To date, we've had 5 businesses already take advantage of the application process. Most are waiting for results right now. And then another 4 are in the process in their training sessions that they need to complete in order to take advantage of the grant application. The second part is the Shop Here program. So that's the second part of the program that's more for your home-based businesses and businesses that have no social media or website development as of yet. We're seeing a huge uptick in this area because it includes people like artisans at home. So we've had 5 businesses access this to date. I was just checking at the end of the day today, and we actually have another 3 that have registered. So there's a big increase in this area, and basically they're getting free support one-to-one for website development, e-commerce store training, managing their online presence. So it's a win-win for the businesses. So it's a success so far, and I think moving forward it is going to be good. Jason Blaine tournament wrapped up, and we're really proud to just raise under 90,000. And just wanted to thank council and staff that joined at the event. We got some good recognition. We had the Laurentian Valley tent at the registration booth, and then later used in the day for some live performances. So it was a great success. Number 4 on my list is the community improvement plan. With engaging with the businesses through the Digital Main Street program, we've seen a spike increase in CIP interest. We currently have 6 interested businesses in some sort of CIP program. And I'm just, I wanted to say, I think it's going to be an integral program in Laurentian Valley moving forward. Just want to make an addition to the my report is the 2nd annual Spooky Movie Night event that is coming up on the 16th. We just released tickets yesterday, and we are sold out by the end of the day today. We may have some spare ones to release into next week. So we're seeing a huge uptick in the sponsorship side of our local businesses in Laurentian Valley and Pembroke, but also with the residents. So
good. Thanks, Dan. Any questions for Dan? Comments? Debbie?
I guess I'm just the CIP program, Dan. So you said there's an uptake in interest and hopefully applications. Are they applying though for funding in 2022 or funding that is left over from 2021?
Yeah, I had spoken to Lori in regards to that as well. We hope to have a couple that are going to be in by the end of 2021, and I foresee some that are not probably going to make it just in regards to the projects they're looking to apply for, but I am getting them to at least start the application process.
Okay. Anybody else? Thanks, Dan, for your report. Stay busy. Move down to subcommittees. Friends of the Disabled. Nothing going on. Chris? Shady Nook? Brian?
We had a meeting last night, first meeting with the new COVID vaccination policy, and we had 12 out to the meeting last night at Shady Nook. So that was nice to see. Hockey is going to be a go, and so that'll be going out to all the media, and we'll be getting it over for the township's website as well. But hockey's going to be a go at Shady Nook this year. So
right on. And the bathrooms look great?
Yeah, there's a couple things I got to talk to Mark about, but
okay.
A few things, yeah.
Okay, Allison Fraser. Okay. With Alice in Wonderland, are they talking about that this year or no?
Not yet, I guess.
Okay.
Be the best way to answer that one.
Forestry Park, Keith, I guess that's closed down or close to it. Okay. Pleasant View?
Nothing to report park-wise, but can we just get an update on the sport court tile installation? And I realize it's too late in the season for it, but what I'm hoping to hear is that the underground will be ready to go, so all we need to do is lay the tiles in the spring, if that's possible.
Councillor Plow, yes. So I don't know, the fence has been removed at the end. We're waiting now for Greenwood to come in and strip it and to repave it. And the intent would be to get the tiles in, prior to the season and have them over winter, or possibly lay them. But I think our thought process might be just to have them on site here and have them close by and then put them in first thing in the spring. But with the fence has been taken down and Greenwood is scheduled to do it. I don't know the exact time they're going to do the pavement, but they have it in their schedule to do so.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Dean. Like, I'm just looking for the ground to be prepped and ready for tile, but no tiles laid.
For sure. That'd be the, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, Stafford? Anything there? No? Okay. I know it was a plan for the rink boards, and I know I've been talking to Dean about that, and got a plan in place to make sure that they're in there and ready to go, so.
Yeah, I have been speaking to Tim Sutcliffe, the chair of the Stafford, and I know he's eager to get chomping at the bit. He's got his committee ready to go, so we're just trying to get that footing in there and circle, so then we can let them loose and hopefully we will get it done so they can have their ring, sure.
Okay, and we have the Rees report. Thanks, Debbie, very in-depth. Lots of good info in there. Any questions? No, seeing none. Okay, thank you. Council comments. Chris?
Thank you. I just had a couple. I see Mark had to go for an emergency. Dean, can we look into a review of the Heenan Road speeds? I had a couple of calls about people driving too fast, and I think where it's in the neighborhood of is a built-up area along sort of where it meets Lubitz and Heenan, somewhere around that area.
So are we asking maybe the LPP to do a presence there? Is that what we're saying?
I think in a built-up area, is the speed limit 80 there or 60?
I know there's been some talk about that, Councillor Plow. I don't know. Mark has brought that forward, and I think we've got it sorted out. So maybe what I will do is talk to Mark about it to make sure he's clear on it. The other thing is maybe to put the speed board up there. I know it has been around the township, but maybe it's time to put it out there. And I don't know if it's been out there lately, but it's certainly an option, as well as calling the OBP. But we will check the speed. I thought it was 60 in the built-up part of it, but it could be 80. And if it's in there, we should review it. But if it is 60, then it probably has to stay there.
So I guess if it is 60, then maybe a visit from the police would be a good thing. Go ahead, Jen, sorry.
I just happened to have the speed bylaw up because I'm doing asset management stuff. And Heenan Road between Suffian Street and Forsley Road is 60. And between Sandy Beach Road and the dead end, of course, going into the Allison Fraser is 40. Every other area is 80.
So I guess I've received elevated amount of complaints, I guess is my report or my question. That's all.
Okay. And you had another point? No?
I have more, but I can wait till the end, or I can go now, whichever you want.
No, you're on a roll. Keep going.
So could we look into, and we ran into this a few years ago, I have two interested parties. One wants to run pickleball, sort of a league, and one wants to run a basketball league. Our past experience with our recreation groups is that sort of if it's not on their property, they're not overly interested, which I don't blame them. But these are new sports that are of interest to some of our residents at least, and they want to run them out of Rockwood School. So there's a whole issue with COVID and school permit use and all of that stuff that I'm well aware of. But I guess if we could look into if we're able to do it, if we can do it, or if we have any appetite to even run anything like this in the future, could we look into it for the fall, winter type of season? I have the people who will organize it and look after it for us. We just kind of need to go ahead to run it under a Laurentian Valley banner of some sort.
So is that, Dean, something we can look into, or?
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's certainly something out of our, we haven't done in the past, is run events as such as that. If council is wanting us to do that, I'm not sure. We'd have to try and find the staff time, I guess, to be able to, and I'm not sure if that's what Councillor Plow is suggesting, or if he just wants us to organize the actual venue, like, and I'm not sure, like, we're talking about a school board, which I know sometimes they're not too much in favor of that because they don't really do anything after 4 o'clock, but maybe, and we only have really one school in our township. So I don't know, I guess maybe if Councillor Plow wants to give it, contact me, and then we can certainly talk about it, Councillor Plow, and see maybe if there's something we can help out a little bit and see where we, what exactly the group is asking for, I guess is what I need to understand.
Yeah, so the issue is, so you need Rockwood because it has a gym, and our current recreational associations don't have a gym. So that sort of puts them out. But for us to offer new and additional sports of any kind, I just don't know how we get there in the current form. So I guess I'm looking for a path forward to be able to offer these two sports in particular for now to our residents.
I guess, but are you asking for the township to do it, or are the residents going to do it?
Yeah, so the problem, the reason why we'd like the township to be involved is because of the school board is insurance and liability issues. So anybody who wants to run their own little basketball league basically makes it that they can't. But however, when Shady Nook or I'll just use Shady Nook as an example. When they run hockey, they're actually running it under the township somehow. So if we could run sports out of the gym in Rockwood, you take out a school permit, you pay the school insurance, which is about $50 a season, and then it would actually be Laurentian Valley offering the sport with a knowledgeable person organizing it.
So
it's not the first time around. I'm just wondering how we can look at it again, or how we figure out a way forward so that everyone is happy.
So maybe, are you asking basically that the township secure the facility and the insurance, and then the group would run it, like, so that we're not really having to be there or do anything, something like that effect? Or maybe they get their own, they rent the hall or rent the gym from the school board, and then we provide the insurance to the group, something like that effect? Is that what you're after?
I don't know. It's just soccer, hockey, the skating trail, anything that happens at the rink in Alice, and whatever happens at Stafford with the water park and all of that stuff. It all falls under the township somehow. But if you want to offer a sport that doesn't fall under one of the current recreation groups, there's no way forward that I can see. So in the spring, when we start this pickleball up at Pleasant View Park, it should be no problem because it's inside of Pleasant View Park. I think the problem is that it's off premises of what we've currently done.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to the group, right? I mean, those are all, structured groups, I guess, and they're the ones that are running the facilities. That's the reason for that. But you're right. In this case, there is no municipal function to go off-site to other groups. Now, if this group got organized, I guess, and was running additional group, additional activities at a certain facility, then maybe the township could, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make the waters muddy either. Like when we ran the little bike event, or we ran the little fishing derby, it's off-sited. They're not recreation groups. They're just sports. So like one is pickleball and one is basketball. It's two different groups. Yeah. But they're not rec associations or anything like that. They just want to have a sport.
No, okay, well pointed. We'll toss it around with the staff, and we'll certainly get back to council and yourself, Councillor Plow.
Thank you.
Charlene, you had a comment? Okay. Charlene, your response to that?
Yeah, it would have to do with the insurance. So right now, we don't have a pickleball organization that's sponsored by the Township of Laurentian Valley. I mean, that organization would obviously have to be a volunteer group added as an insurance with regards to that as a group. We would have to have an agreement with the school board to allow us to utilize that, and that would go to our insurance company and moving forward. But there's a little bit more to it, I believe, and Dean's right. There needs to be a lot more to it than just putting them on our insurance. There has to be agreements in place, because no matter what, the township would be liable for any issues at the school board. So there has to be an agreement not only with the association, but with the school as well. So we would have to know who they are and all of that. So perhaps maybe Nevada and Chris can sit together, or Dean, and go through that, how that's going to work.
And maybe we could add that as a subcommittee under one of the current recreation associations. So we'll leave that up to you folks. Anybody else with some comment? Seeing none. No closed session. So adjournment, Dean?
Yeah, I need a mover and a second to adjourn this and move into special council.
Okay. Brian and Jennifer?
Moved by Councillor Ugly, second by Councillor Gauthier, that the council committee meeting October 5th, 2021 be adjourned at 6:50.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're gonna move into the special council meeting.
Correct.
Just tell me when you're ready, Dean.
Yeah, motion to call order.
Call to order.
Mover to seconder, please.
Keith and Alan.
Moved by Councillor Watt, second by Councillor Wren, that the special council meeting of October 5th, 2021 be called to order at 6:50.
All in favor? Confirmation of the agenda.
Mover and seconder.
Chris and Alan.
Moved by Councillor Plow, second by Councillor Wren, that the agenda of the special council meeting of October 5th, 2021 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Declaration of peculiar interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, bylaws, Dean.
I move in a seconder, please.
We have Brian and we have Keith.
Moved by Councillor Ugly, second by Councillor Watt, that the following bylaws be enacted and passed and be read a first, second, and third time and be numbered and signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed by the seal of the corporation and be engrossed in this bylaw book this 5th day of October 2021. 2021-10-054 to authorize professional services agreement SP 2021-09 Baroni consent B7021. 2021-10-055 to authorize development agreement SP 2021-09 with Baroni consent B7021/21, and 2021-10-056 to authorize transfer of lot 6 plan 49M85 Taylor Heights subdivision file number 47T07002 to DCS Developments Limited.
All in favor? Carried. Adjournment.
Mover and a seconder, please.
Jennifer, no.
Moved by Councillor Gauthier, second by Councillor Wren, that the special council meeting of October 5th, 2021 be adjourned at 7 p.m.
All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.